Hello there and welcome to Biz First Review 360. You're with me, Stephanie Lazarus. Let's find out what's trending in Sri Lanka's business arena. China eager for Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's visit. Economists react to Fitch downgrading of Sri Lankan banks. Sri Lanka open for overseas technical expertise, no harm to the Sri Lankan job market. A statement from State Minister of National Policies and Economic Affairs. Malaysian tourism eyes South Asian market. Also on the program tonight, Sri Lanka joins the Indian Ocean Rim Association to promote sustainable whale and dolphin watching tourism. On to those stories in detail. China is eagerly awaiting Prime Minister Wickremesinghe in Beijing next month to discuss China's Maritime Silk Road initiative.
With a new government coming into power, Sri Lankan business ties with China came under close scrutiny over irregularities and documentation pertaining to the country's laws. As a result, the Chinese-backed $1.4 billion Colombo Port City project stalled. However, falling foreign reserves and a balance of payment crisis has compelled the government to woo China back. The Board of Investment said Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe's visit to Beijing is being eagerly awaited as it's a timely opportunity to strengthen bilateral relations. According to the Board of Investment, China's Maritime Silk Road initiative will also feature during discussions. The Maritime Silk Road will consist of two routes, of which one will run from China's coastal ports to Europe via the South China Sea and the Indian Ocean. As the key Eurasian shipping route, the Indian Ocean plays a major role in facilitating China's overseas trade and the transportation of fuel and raw materials. Sri Lanka, an island nation in the Indian Ocean, is seen as one of the vital nodes along the Maritime Silk Road.
Fitch Ratings downgraded Sri Lanka's ratings to B+ on external debt. We spoke to some of the economists to find out what sort of an impact this could have on the country's economy.
The main reason for this downgrade was the increasing external debt repayments and also the persistent weakening of government revenue capacity in recent years. So the main implication for this is that given the fact that Sri Lanka has in the next 12 months or so about $5 billion worth of external debt repayments, it's going to be more challenging to be able to roll this over. In the sense that it will be probably more expensive since investors will require a greater compensation for the higher risk perception. And as it is, the current global market for emerging and frontier markets to access global capital markets is quite tough. So this makes it a little bit more challenging in that context. So this will likely compel the government to also borrow more from local sources in order to meet their overall debt payments. And that is likely to trigger a higher level of domestic interest rates as well. Finally, there's also a possible implication of the fact that it might be more difficult now to also attract foreign investment into local government debt in terms of foreign investment in Sri Lankan rupee treasuries and treasury bills and treasury bonds.
Short-term Fitch rating generally indicate the potential level of default within a period of 12 months. Actually, when a country is categorized under this Fitch rating, according to the grading or the rating that is given, this gives an indication to the rest of the world, the economy, about the position, the ability, capacity of the country. When a B category when we fall into the B category in the Fitch rating, it infers that the economy is in a speculative nature and the country has a minimal capacity to meet its commitments. It also reflects the vulnerability to short-term adverse changes in financial and economic conditions. Now, from our personal knowledge, we are aware that the recent Fitch rating of the downgrading to B category has already started giving generating its impact. In that, we are aware that some of the foreign investors who wanted to go into the bond issue, recent US dollar bond issue, are thinking of waiting for the secondary market to develop because of this Fitch rating thing.
if there is further downgrading of Sri Lanka's sovereign ratings, particularly by the other ratings agencies as well, it makes it harder for Sri Lanka to borrow overseas, particularly because this is coming alongside an already difficult external economic environment with US Fed interest rates rising and the global interest rate rise and general market conditions overseas not very favorable. So this then puts pressure on the government to have to either continue to borrow at higher rates overseas or turn more towards the domestic market and financing it from the domestic banking system, which of course then tends to crowd out private sector borrowing. Overall, it points to a real need to fix the underlying issues that are causing this weakness, which has led Fitch and others to caution on Sri Lanka, which is our tax revenue situation and the overall budget. So cutting spending and getting better at the tax revenue ratio. And secondly, fixing the external reserve position, which really comes back to increasing our exports.
Much controversy surrounds the proposed Indo-Sri Lanka Economic and Technology Cooperative Agreement. We sat with the State Minister of National Policies and Economic Affairs to find out more. Well, that's coming up after this short commercial break. Welcome back. You're watching BizFirst Review 360. We bring you a sneak peek of an exclusive interview with State Minister of National Policies and Economic Affairs.
What is Sri Lanka's national policy? Do we have an economic policy to drive our economy to the next level? Where does the country stand today in terms of Sri Lankan politics? What are the trade agreements that is really bothering the trade unions here in Sri Lanka? To discuss all this and more, I have the man himself, the State Minister of National Policy and Economic Affairs, State Minister Mr. Niroshan Perera. A very good evening and welcome to the show, Mr. Perera. Starting off, what is your role as a State Minister of National Policy and Economic Affairs?
As you know, National Policies and Economic Ministry is under the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. We are the main policy-making body inside the government. We coordinate all the other ministries as well, and we set the direction where Sri Lanka should head in terms of economic policy as well. So we play a very important role. We are under the Prime Minister, so we have a very active role in managing the economy as well. Yes.
Does Sri Lanka have a national policy? And if so, what exactly is our policy?
Yeah, I think the Prime Minister was very clear in Parliament. He announced the national policy for Sri Lanka. As you know, we have a lot of challenges facing this country. So it's very important that we have very sound national policy to take the country forward.
What is the policy that we're talking about?
Well, in terms of economic policy, he was very clear that we need to be very competitive. We have to understand the reality of the world economy, and we have to be very competitive, and we have to actually train our youth and our labor force to withstand that challenge. Also, we need to attract investments, foreign investments and technical know-how. I think with that we can take the country forward.
Mr. Perera, ETCA, the Economic Technology Cooperation Agreement that is to be signed with India, is it going ahead?
It's going ahead, yes.
When is it due to be signed? In June, as proposed
We are hoping to do it in June, yes, middle of this year, yes.
Has discussions concluded? Have we submitted our draft resolution to India?
Not yet, but we hope to finish it soon, yes.
Transfer of natural persons between both nations, is that clause still in place?
No, I think the Prime Minister made it very clear that we won't just open our economy for Indian workers to come and work here. There's already a system in place, as you know, not only in India, but even the Chinese companies, when they were building the highways or the power plants. They also had the technical expertise. So we are open to getting the technical expertise, but not at the expense of the Sri Lankan workers. So the Prime Minister made it clear that it won't be open border situation where what the opposition is saying, where every Indian will come and try to take jobs from Sri Lanka.
Do you think negotiations and dialogue is important between the government and trade union activists and even professional organizations on EDCA?
Yes, very much. I think we have to start that process, but we have to make it clear that what we are going to do. I think that's very important. And already the Chamber of Commerce, they have actually welcomed EDCA. But I think we need to educate the people. I think it's very important that very important agreements like this that the people should be aware of.
Thank you very much, Mr. Niroshan Pere, for joining us this evening on BizFirst in Focus. Pleasure was all mine today.
Thank you.
Malaysian tourism authorities are in Sri Lanka on a destination promotion mission. More details on this after this short commercial break. Welcome back. You're watching BizFirst Review 360. Malaysian tourism authorities are in Sri Lanka to promote the destination and attract more travellers from Sri Lanka.
Malaysia is a popular holiday and shopping destination among Sri Lankan travellers. However, arrivals from Sri Lanka had dropped to 51,337 in 2015, a drop of 17% from a year earlier. As part of efforts to raise awareness on Malaysia as a destination of choice, Tourism Malaysia has embarked on a promotion campaign covering the Indian cities of Chandigarh, Bengaluru, Kochi and Colombo in Sri Lanka.
We have hoped to achieve, or maybe to get the numbers back what we had previously, or maybe more. For this, we plan to carry out a more aggressive marketing approach, building a strategic partnership with all the local agents and also the media in this country. This year we have planned a sales mission of roadshow, or you may call it our networking. We have local Malaysian industry players from reputable organizations who have joined me on this visit. They are meeting here with their Sri Lankan counterparts. We also want to encourage more tour operators here to develop more packages for holidays, especially focused on niche products like premium shopping, luxury travel, sports tourism, such as golf, Formula One, MotoGP, and many more challenging sports, especially in the state of Sabah.
1.3 million tourists from South Asia visited Malaysia in 2014.
Now for other stories on the show.
Central Bank Governor Arjun Mahendran says bureaucracy and misconceptions between the state agencies and the business community is hurting entrepreneurship and the SME sector in the country.
When these industrialists want to go and get land, they have to, if it's an abandoned paddy land, OVT land or Kamata land or whatever, the Agrarian Services Department has to give the approval for them to construct something on that. And the Agrarian Service doesn't give it. Why? Because Agrarian Service is worried that they'll convert it and build a house on it. And you know, there are all these misconceptions that go on between the government servants and business people. Now, how we cut through this is going to be our challenge. Because we are the guys, the bankers in the room are hopefully the people who have the clout to go and bang heads together and tell this fellow, look, do it this way, and tell the government also, if you all don't get your act together, we are not interested in backing you all. So don't underestimate your power. If they don't really get their act together on these agrarian services permits and getting us land in industrial zones, giving proper lease titles to industrial zone land which can be collateralized by the banks, all these issues, unless we realize this thing is not going to move forward.
Sri Lanka has joined the Indian Ocean Rim Association, comprising of 20 countries, to make whale and dolphin watching tourism sustainable in the waters around Sri Lanka. Whale and dolphin watching has become a top attraction among tourists and locals alike.
As well known, marine ecosystems and ocean life forms such as whale and dolphins are part of the so-called global commons, which are actually open access in their nature. Open access resources, unless managed with great care, are vulnerable to overexploitation and succumb to pressure from human actions. Hence, great care must be exercised in managing whale and dolphin watching tourism if we are to achieve the desired sustainable outcomes.
However, intense maritime traffic, unregulated fishing, chemical and noise pollution have posed threats to blue whales and dolphins in the waters around Sri Lanka.
Blue economy industries, such as sustainable whale and dolphin watching tourism, can ensure that coastal communities, countries and regions both value, manage and use the ocean, while safeguarding the habitats and ecosystems that provide food and livelihoods. Additionally, previous IORA tourism meetings, such as the first ministerial meeting in Seychelles in late 2014, also highlighted the need for member states to better optimise the benefits from marine tourism. We know that tourism is in fact a main source of foreign exchange earnings for most IORA countries. In fact, marine tourism generates more global revenue than aquaculture and fisheries combined. That's quite an amazing statistic. Another often cited statistic from 2010 notes that 13 million people went whale watching each year in 119 countries, generating $2.1 billion.
That's all the news we've got for you today. Join us again next Friday, same time. I'm Stephanie Lazarus, signing off.